Hey everybody, Jonathan Broadbent here, your host of UnWoke Academy. Welcome to another episode. Today I'm going to introduce you to two new terms, probably new to you, but they're important ones to know in the world of finance. One is asset gatherer and the other is direct investing. Today we're going to cover both and talk about how they may be helpful and beneficial to you. Before I go into that, I'm going to ask you to take a brief moment to like, share, and comment. We have the algorithms to fight. People like me who are up against and calling out woke on Wall Street, which means BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street and many others like them, are not particularly popular in the world of algorithms. You can overcome that by clicking the like button. Share, and don't forget to click that little bell, depending on which platform you're watching this on, to get announcements the next time we release another new episode. This is all important information. It's shared in the hopes that you can take some of this into your financial life, go unwoke, stop funding the woke left, and enjoy, hopefully, a much better and more prosperous future. Now, back to the topic at hand. We're going to cover those two things. The first is asset gatherer. Let's drill down a little bit into what asset gatherer means. In the world of finance, and really in that I include banking, insurance, investment management, a lot of financial planning, all of that stuff. If it has to do with money, the big money for people out there who are sales agents is to gather as much of your financial life as possible. Yes, that means data mining. It means collecting all your stuff and getting it to one place rather than going out and kind of shopping the market. There's big money to be had in that because large financial institutions, they are willing to pay top dollar to their sales agents who are most successful at bringing in the most relationship. So put that into a hypothetical. Imagine for a moment that you're a small business owner and there's a lot of financial comings and goings. So you have employees, you might offer a 401k plan, you probably have a payroll service, you probably do business banking and some personal banking, and you have checking and a line of credit, and you might have a home loan. Financial institutions love to go in and pitch you on all that stuff for all your employees. So imagine a world, and yes, it is billed to you as convenience, but imagine a world where one mega financial institution comes in and says, well, don't worry about anything. We'll come in and we will offer checking accounts to your employees, and we'll do your payroll service, and we'll offer insurance to your corporate insurance to your company, and we'll give you a home equity line of credit, and we're going to sell your employees their credit cards and banking services. To them, that's great, and they bill it as convenience. And there's a trade-off. The trade-off you need to know is that none of them are a jack of all trades and master of all of them. In a better world, you or somebody like you could go out and find the best place for the different insurance needs you may have, or the best bank, and every once in a while review it to make sure that their fees haven't crept up and they're not gouging you. And investment management and the offering of the 401k plan, yes, there's a fair amount of work that goes into that, but partly it's made to feel daunting to you as a business owner. Again, in this analogy, you're a small business owner. It's made to feel oppressive and daunting because it's made to make you sticky. It's made to make you feel trapped in the thing that you're getting. And the more of it, the better. And you see it in all kinds of different places. If you integrate your 401k that you offer your employees through lots of other different services, then they may have a one-stop shop. And that's always what it looks like. And on the website, they go there and they can click a button and it shows all their insurance products. And they can click a button and it shows their bank accounts and banking. And they can click a button and it shows their 401k retirement savings. And there are all kinds of little buttons that are like sales gimmicks that pop up all the time, trying to convince them to add more stuff, more services. Well, there's a ready-made analogy. If you're old enough, if you're watching this and remember AOL, America Online, the first web, I think it was, I don't know, one of the first. It was the first really big web service provider. And the way that that worked is they were the gatekeeper to all the stuff. And they told you what was important. So you open it up and they gave you the news in their view, and your email went through them. Well, that was great for them. And they made a lot of money for some years because everybody was captive. But then the real internet came along, and the real internet killed it. It's, from what I gather, completely gone, or almost. So I don't think AOL exists anymore, at least not in the context that I remember it, because people got broadband and went wherever they wanted, whenever they want. And they found that they could get different sources of information and better things. I'm just going to call all of that open architecture. Open architecture in your financial life is a good thing. It's a really good thing, but most people don't want you to know about it. The people who are sales agents, they really don't want you to know about it. Before I get into direct investing and what that is and how it works and how amazing it can be, I want to pause to highlight what capital markets are. Capital markets, when you hear people talk about the investing marketplace or the market, the stock market, I have to air quote that because there is so much disinformation and misinformation about what the market actually means. The American public and the public at large is falsely led into this ridiculous belief that some really small number of companies, like figure around 40, are the market. They represent the market. And somehow, as an offshoot of that malicious false information, most everybody has been conned into the belief that those 40-ish companies are the ones that everyone should be invested in. Well, that made the globalist bubble. I've covered that in great detail many times. Nobody should be wanting to invest their money in any bubble anywhere, much less funding a small handful of globalist companies that really don't seem to appreciate or value us, we the people, America, or Western civilization. They value some weird new form of global communism, but that's a sidebar. The way capital markets really work and the way they're designed to work is we, the people, with all our investing dollars, decide what we want the future to look like. And we decide what companies we think are good and valuable and will shape the future and stand a realistic opportunity and a hopeful prospect of becoming the next new thing. We actually literally are the bank. We are giving capital, hence the term capital markets, to those companies that we want to succeed, and we hope that they succeed. And there are all kinds of smart people out there, and I guess now I include myself among them, who does ongoing, relentless research into companies to try to figure out which are the good ones and which are the bad ones. Along the way, the convenience, again, I'm air quoting that, of mutual funds was another con. Overwhelmingly, as I've shown through illustrating things like the request for information that I did last year, 2024, asking investment managers to define their diligence and their investment processes, their ideologies and their philosophies. What are they investing in and why? Put simply, I've asked them to define that, and they can't, and most won't, because they went woke. And instead of doing the common sense, reasonable, realistic thing of having a process and doing research and doing due diligence like I'm doing, and that's what UnWoke Academy is. It's research. Instead of doing that, many vast numbers, majority, fell into this notion that everybody should all just be funneled into the same number of, or approximately the same small group of investments, the globalists. That's terrible. You shouldn't want that. Nobody should. Now that you understand capital markets, hopefully a little bit better, think about how you invest. Of course, there are lots of people that want to be the middleman and make some money off of you. If you have a financial advisor, by the way, this is a great opportunity to encourage everybody to call, email, or otherwise get a hold of Matt and Drew over at Inspire Advisors.
Do you know what's in your portfolio?
Are you investing in companies that are in conflict with your beliefs and values?
Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Drew with Inspire Advisors Upward Management Group.
We believe you can still achieve your goals, get good returns, and not compromise your values in the process.
Talk to us today for a free impact report showing you what your portfolio is currently supporting, as well as what it would look like to have your investments aligned with your values.
Give us a call at 614-683-8054 or visit us at inspireadvisorsumg.com.
I'm about to go into the woke that has happened to financial advisors all over the place. It's not all of them. There's some great financial advisors out there, and they can be very helpful. But many turned themselves into sales agents. If you have a sales agent who doesn't actually do anything, I'm going to get into those in a moment. Can them, fire them, call Matt and Drew or people like them, and get yourself out of harm's way. If you're paying for financial advice, get financial advice. Matt and Drew over at Inspire Advisors are offering what they call an impact report. It shows you if you've got woke stuff in your portfolio and how to replace it with something better that's not funding the woke. Back to paying financial advisors. If you're paying a financial advisor, they have a fee, and then they're putting your money into mutual funds. Those have a fee, and sometimes they're hefty. You don't see it because it's just siphoned off, continuously paying them. It's out of sight, out of mind, but it's not invisible, and it's not harm-free. It is harming you by subtracting money. And let's think this through. If you're paying a financial advisor to put you into the same bubble everybody else ends up in, and the people managing that bubble also are getting money, you're paying two layers of people in order to not get a diversified portfolio appropriately invested for your value system. If you like America, or even if you love it, especially if you love it, and you think things like Make America Great Again or America First, by the way, that's not an indication that your portfolio needs to be only American companies. There are some people that will invest that way, and that's fine. That's their choice. There are some companies that are positioned all over the world, but are embracing of free market capitalism, free market economy. Those are also companies worth consideration. But generally speaking, you're not finding them on the radar of the big, mega, globalist money managers who are pushing everything they can into a very small number of companies. To give a little teaser hint of the implications of that and how overfunding is doubly harmful, I could spend days talking about the suffocation of small, medium, and large size companies that didn't play the game as effectively as the super woke mega globalists, and they've been starved for cash for a long period of time. But the other downside, the other horrifying negative to it, is the things like the stock bonuses that were given recently to some of the top brass at some of these mega woke globalist companies. There was an average of almost $17 million that was given to individuals, the chairman of these companies in general. It worked out to an average of something like $16.7 million in stock bonuses. And some of those companies have gotten crushed because of their woke behavior. You know, the whole go woke, go broke. So imagine a company that goes woke, ends up with their stock price down. They have to cut staff, lay off people, close locations, but their CEO or chairman or somebody gets a $17 million bonus for doing that. Now imagine that stock is in your portfolio. The chances are pretty good you own some of it. That's what UnWoke is for. UnWoke.academy is designed to help you figure that out and get your money out of that stuff. You don't want to be there. You don't need to be there. There are better things. In a moment, I'm going to get to some of the latest numbers. Actually, you can see behind me the composition of one. This is one of the financial PMA members' portfolio. This is an actual portfolio. You're getting a behind the curtains glimpse into a real live portfolio. And these numbers that you see here, these numbers are really good, but they're actually not current. I have more current numbers that I'll share with you in a moment. But first, direct investing. So what is direct investing? In our world, it actually has two different possible avenues. One is direct investing in stocks. And you've heard me before, I do encourage at least consider building a stock portfolio. That does several very positive things. One of them is it gives you a clear view of exactly what you own. There's no ambiguity. Also, it eliminates the management fees. So if you don't need to be paying a financial advisor fee, don't pay it. Or if you're paying it, switch to somebody who isn't woke and who actually pays attention and will help guide you into investments that aren't woke and aren't in a bubble. Ideally, somebody like Matt and Drew. Take a look at Matt and Drew, or find somebody that you can actually trust to work with as a financial advisor if you want to work with one. If you don't, direct investing may be a great avenue for you. So look at some of those companies, and many of these on our list that we consider might be available through direct investing. And it's a great way of building portfolio over time. So, of course, there are online discount trading platforms, which are unbelievably inexpensive to trade and hold stocks for a long period of time. As a related note, I am not a fan of day trading and active trading in and out of things. I know there are some people that like to do that. I do not encourage it. What I'm suggesting is a long-term buy and hold strategy of companies that you know, like, and understand, and can clearly see what you own and what you're funding for the future. In the conversation around cost of that portfolio, if you don't need to be paying it, don't pay advisor fees and investment management fees in order to be funneled into things that you can't see and opaque, probably woke stuff. It's a world of difference when you can see what you own. By the way, this sort of thing can be done inside of IRA accounts and your 401k, quite potentially. I have a couple of episodes where I walk you through the steps that would be needed to add it to your 401k plan. But this is a go anywhere conversation, the exact opposite of AssetGatherer. I saw the AssetGatherer world and I didn't like it. I left it. I spent some time on Wall Street. A long story made short, I was hired as an institutional consultant where I have a little niche within the world of finance I happen to be good at. It got me recruited to Wall Street. Once I got there, there was an expectation that I too was going to become an asset gatherer. Well, I didn't stay long. I left because I don't want to do that. In my world, using that earlier example, wherever you are, your business, the small business, your company 401k plan, your banking, your insurance, I don't care. I candidly could not possibly care any less what provider you use or who does the investment management. I have absolute ambiguity, which is a refreshing, good place to be as a professional. The only thing that matters to me is that it's the best. It's the greatest, best, most successful combination of good cost that you can understand, that's clear and transparent, and good service. That's it. I don't care. I really could not care any less which combination of providers you use, which brings us to technology. Technology now is such that it really is not prohibitive for people to actually shop around and find the best places, the best 401k offering, the best simple plan, the best IRA, the best bank, the best insurance company. If you are drawn to the notion that some big company out there, mega globalist firm X, that's not meant to actually represent any real firm, if you're drawn to the idea that they're going to do your payroll, that they're going to do your insurance, they're going to do your banking, they're going to do the banking for your employees, they're going to sell college savings plans, they're good. It's madness. They're not going to do it as effectively and as reasonably as picking the best in each of those categories. That's open architecture, and it wins. Open architecture wins. And there's another ready-made example of that. There's an analogy, if you're old enough to remember 401k plans from the 80s and 90s. It used to be common when you signed up for your company 401k plan to see only one name. There used to be one investment manager, and that was it. You would pick from their funds. Well, that changed a lot, and we went to open architecture, which allowed people like me to go out there and consistently look for the very best investment manager in each asset class. That's open architecture. Your financial life can work the same way. You can go to the best provider in all instances. If you're buying mutual funds, let's find the best mutual funds we can with the most transparency and best fees and performance reasonably that we can. And if you can directly invest with them, and there's something called dollar cost averaging that's worth considering, where you can make small consistent deposits over time to something like that and grow wealth gradually over time. The more you can strip out fees and conflicts of interest, the better off you are. That's what the financial PMA is designed to do. The financial PMA aggressively and right out of the gate in every instance eliminates conflict of interest and puts your fee as low as humanly possible. In fact, financial PMA membership, I encourage everybody who becomes a member to not pay the member dues from your investment accounts. It is a single, very nominal fee. It's probably a fraction of what you're now paying. Pay it out of your checking account or somewhere else so that you pay no fees out of your investment accounts. Then watch what happens over time. It was Albert Einstein who's credited with saying that the single greatest power in the universe is the power of compound interest. Let that money stay in your account and compound over time, not siphoned off to pay a whole bunch of different managers and planners and fee people. Don't pay them. Keep your money. Keep more of it. So we have mutual funds, some allow direct investing, and we have stock portfolios. Some of those issuers of those stocks allow you to invest directly. So if you're not opening up a discount brokerage account, at least know that that option exists to either open a discount brokerage and just build a portfolio there with hopefully very inexpensive trades and just buy and hold the stuff and build on it over time, putting little increments of money and buy and know what you own. And spend some time, come back here to UnWoke.academy, where we're going to continue to track and report and talk about those things. It's a big ongoing conversation where these names that you see these names of companies. This is something that one of our members landed on. It's about 40 companies. And the most recent numbers, if you've been watching this for any length of time, you know that this portfolio, we continue to talk about and track, it actually originally was cash and it invested. All of these stocks got purchased on October 8th last year, 2024. Not a year. It has not been a year yet. From October 8th through mid-August, the unrealized gain is actually higher than you see behind me. 51.01% unrealized gain. Average returns, 54.90%. So this person has actually gained half of her value in under a year. I hope that trend continues. And frankly, in looking at the America First investment policy that was released by Trump in February of 2025, just this year, Trump released the investment policy statement. In looking at the movement of capital markets, regrowing capital markets, and all of the emphasis on Make America Great Again, and rebuilding the middle class in America, and bringing manufacturing and business back to America. and the West and supporting capital markets and free market economy. Drain the money, I say, out of that 40-ish company, that globalist cabal. They don't need that money. They're so overfunded, it is preposterous. Take some of the money from them and get it into what might become the next new thing. That business that's flourishing but needs some capital to acquire another business and grow or get new equipment or research and development. That funding is constantly needed by business enterprise all over the place. Capital markets are designed to fund that. They're broken when capital markets redirect investment dollars into ESG, DEI, CRT, all that stuff that is supposed to have taken the place of common sense, rigorous investment due diligence, and reason and logic. Get it out of your portfolio. Don't invest your money there. Don't allow, please, do not allow the woke left globalists to commandeer your money, put it into those companies that are designing themselves to be global communism on steroids, and continue to allow the crushing and degradation of competitive marketplaces, free market economy. One last thing, and it's sort of anecdotal, but it's kind of important, on the subject of direct investing with mutual funds. I'm going to refer back to a really interesting court case that took place around 2002, I want to say. At the time, one of the largest, or perhaps the largest mutual fund family in the world was called into a court case to testify. It was the topic was unrelated to what I'm going to cover, but during the course of testimony, some of the managers testified, and this is public record now, that their mutual funds were actually too big for them to be successful. What they meant by that, and this is really compelling, if you follow mutual funds and the concepts behind them and know that really effectively all they're doing is being your money manager, they're making decisions about when to buy and sell stocks. If they have too much money, they can't successfully move in or out of anything, not very quickly. It takes them so long to get out of harm's way if some major negative news hits some company that they can't avoid the damage. In the same light, if they see an investment opportunity, they can't possibly come up with enough shares and buy enough in order to move the needle in a meaningful, successful way to positively impact that mutual fund. So in other words, when you have billions and billions of dollars that owns millions and millions of shares of companies, if one of those companies suddenly has a major problem, it takes them sometimes months to sell out of all of those shares and find enough buyers for the thing. For that reason, for decades now, I've actually had a very keen interest in smaller mutual funds. We can apply the same investment due diligence and manager metrics. We can look for good managers in the small market, but in the small market, everything being equal, it's easier, much easier sometimes for them to find an opportunity and invest wisely and have a significant impact on the performance of that mutual fund. And conversely, if they see danger ahead in one of the stocks they own, it is much easier with a smaller number of shares owned to get out of harm's way quickly, sometimes in a day, in the small mutual funds. Why do I bring up small mutual fund issuers? The smaller issuers are more likely, in my experience, to have direct investing options. You, the investor, can go directly, click a couple of buttons, fill out a form, and you could start investing directly in their mutual fund. That shaves off fees. The fact that it is unknown, virtually nobody understands that those opportunities to exist, to go directly to those issuers, the mutual fund, or the company that is listing their stock. It tells you all you need to know about asset gatherers. Those sales agents, they make a lot of money off of doing as much asset gathering as possible. And that means getting all of your money, all of your relationship, all your transactions to one place. They do not want you transacting with that platform, with that company, directly with the mutual fund, directly with the company that's issuing the stock. They lose money if they direct you to do that. I'm encouraging you to consider it. In the Financial PMA, we have a lot of conversation. There's a lot of ongoing dialogue about the best ways to invest. Clear, transparent, understandable, and as low fee as possible. Direct investing could be a very big part of that. I hope you'll consider it. Don't forget to like this video and share it with friends. Post comments, and this is, again, a call for anybody out there who has mutual funds anywhere in any portfolio. It doesn't matter. IRA, 401k. Give us some of the names and ticker symbols from those mutual funds, and I will go through and create a video of doing some research and due diligence. I always use publicly available data, and of course, you will be kept anonymous. But give us some of the names of those, and let's start lifting the hood on some of those mutual funds. I'm Jonathan Broadbent. This has been another episode of UnWoke.Academy. Thanks for listening.